I hope the changes to the podcast last longer than new Coke. Every beer has a story. Some changed history. Some disappeared overnight. Some changed the way we drink. If you like learning something every time you watch or listen, welcome to Beer in Front. And sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet. Welcome to the new and improved Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris. I thank you so much for listening. Going to change a couple things up here. I mentioned if you listen to last week's show, I thought things were getting a little stagnant. So I wanted to make some changes to the podcast and the format here. Nothing's etched in stone. I mentioned last week, if, this doesn't work, I'll go back to calling people a jagoff. I could always do that. But I want to mix things up a little bit. So we're going to have a couple new segments here. Going to talk about a Tavern of the Week. The Tavern episodes that came out last week were enormously successful, way beyond my wildest dreams. So thank you for listening to that. If you listen to the first one that came out, that was good. I put out a bonus episode last Friday with Dave Infante from Vine, Pear, and Fingers. You're not used to getting a beer in front on a Friday, so definitely be sure to check that one out as well. Those are really good. A couple of changes I want to do here. I'm going to do not really the news of the week because Rod J and I talk about that on the Midwest Beer Show that comes out every other weekend. I want to do more of the news stuff over with Rod J. If there's anything huge breaking, then I'll definitely talk about it here. But little things, little beer releases, I'm going to bring over there. I want to do the Tavern of the Week I mentioned. I want to do, every now and then, I'm going to talk about an old beer ad. And I've got one coming up here. And if you remember, when I say, here's to good friends, and you could finish that sentence, your back hurts. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to talk about the Löwenbräu commercials that were enormously popular way back in the day. I want to do segments on that, more different types of things, kind of see if I can get some more listeners involved. Not that I don't appreciate you. I love you guys for listening to this podcast, but see if I can branch out a little bit more. So that's about it. Everything is well here on the home front. Ruby's doing better, thanks to all that reached out and offered their thoughts on Ruby. She's doing much better. My elbow's doing a little bit better. I go back and see the surgeon on Thursday, and we'll see what's happening there. It's still swollen. The scar is going down a little bit, but there's still some swelling, and it's weird. Like, it was elbow surgery, so it was my inner elbow, but my entire forearm, if you're going up to the wrist, still feels not numb, but it feels like tingly. Like if you touch it, it's almost like sunburn. And it'll be 6 weeks on Tuesday. Talk to the surgeon, see, hey, is that normal? Because it still like aggravates me. We'll see what's going on with that. So for now, I'm still home, thanks workman's comp, but I'd rather be working, and I hate sitting home. But in a way, I guess it's a blessing because I'm helping out Ruby as she recovers from her broken ribs. So enough of that. Let's get on with the new and improved Beer in Front. Well, here's a beer I haven't had in a minute. I'm perusing the aisles of my liquor store, and I see Red Seal Ale from North Coast. That's a phenomenal beer. I haven't had this one in years. North Coast, if you're not familiar, there's a brewery behind Old Rasputin. But Red Seal Ale is a great beer in itself. I'm excited. Let's crack it open. Red Seal Ale is red, hence the name. Really, there's like a lot of foam on here. Good khaki pants color foam. Smells really good. Getting a lot of malt out of the aroma. Maybe a little bitterness from the hops, but right now what I'm getting, and like I said, there's a lot of foam, is malt. It smells great. It's a lot of foam. Stand by. Let me grab a sip. Excellent beer. Good malt characteristics, good hop flavor there. It's bitter. It's almost like a red IPA, like a West Coast. Now they're calling this a pale ale, but it's very hoppy, a lot of bitterness there. It's a solid beer. Like, I'm a big fan. You don't see it often, but when you do, you gotta grab it. According to the can, it's an excellent companion to grilled meats and rich sauces. I don't have any of that with me right now. I just have the beer, but it's really good if you're a fan of hoppy West Coast styles. Like I said, they're calling this a pale, but I would call this more of an IPA. I think Red Seal Ale is a winner. It's been around forever. So if you see it from North Coast Brewing Company out of California, they're in Fort Bragg. You got to put it in the cart. Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special. If you know the rest of the words, it's time to get your colonoscopy. The Löwenbräu ads were huge in the late 70s, early 80s. Löwenbräu means lion's brew, and the Munich brewery traces its roots back to the 14th century. The label liked to remind drinkers of that with the claim of brewing since 1383. But the story we're telling today isn't about Bavaria. It's about a Sunday afternoon in America watching football and Brent Musburger and Jimmy the Greek and a jingle that a whole generation still can't get out of their heads. By the early 70s, Miller Brewing had picked up the United States licensing rights to brew and market Löwenbräu domestically, and they needed to sell it to the American public that mostly thought of beer as Schlitz or Budweiser, blue-collar beers. Löwenbräu was pitched as something else: prestige, European sophistication, a beer for those that arrived. To sell that idea, Miller turned to the J. Walter Thompson advertising agency, and their approach wasn't like slogans or jokes. It was this music, soulful, almost church-like music. The commercials itself, if you remember, they showed a small circle of well-dressed people gathered around a dinner table, raising glasses, toasting, looking meaningfully at one another like they just survived something important. And over the top of it played a baritone voice singing, "Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special." I cannot sing, but you know what I'm talking about. The voice was Arthur Prysock. He was an R&B vocalist who was performing for a while. The ads were so popular, MCA Records tried to make that an actual single and released it, and was called Here's to Good Friends, and it didn't have any of the beer references in it. It flopped. But the commercial first aired in 1977. The commercial had legs and was still running into the early 80s. But what's ironic is that the beer itself, Löwenbräu, was never actually German once Miller got a hold of it. It was brewed here in the United States under license using the name and heritage story, but very little of the Munich original made it into the bottle that you bought. The gap between the mystique being sold and the domestic reality being poured is basically the whole story of American macro brewing in the 70s. It's the same move Löwenbräu's rivals were making with their own fake import lines around the same time. The brand Löwenbräu still exists today, but you can't find it here in the United States. But the jingle outlived the beer. Ask anyone over 55 to finish the line, "So tonight," and they'll be able to answer you. All right, I'm excited to try this new collaboration between Firestone Walker and Ernie Ball. You're saying to yourself, who's Ernie Ball? Ernie Ball makes the best guitar strings out there, accessories. You look at the lineup of people that use Ernie Ball strings, and it's like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So it's a really cool collaboration. Great can art on here. I'm digging this. This is a limited release West Coast IPA. So let's crack this one open. Pours really nice, beautiful, light, clear color here. Good couple fingers of foam. Really liking the aroma. I'm getting like some fruitiness, some berries, maybe a little citrus. Smells really good. That's nice. Use Simcoe hops in there, Mosaic Cryo, Nelson Sauvin. Really like the hop flavor that I'm getting out of here. Tastes really good. There's some bitterness to it. They also use white wheat and flaked rice, so it has a nice finish to this. I think this is really good. Yeah, that's a winner. 40 IBU, 7%. Not sure if you could get it as a single. I know it's in their new IPA mix pack that I was able to grab. If you see this one, pick this one up. I think this is really good. So if you're looking for a different West Coast IPA, check out Firestone Walker and Ernie Ball's Electric Eagle. New segment I want to start featuring on the show is my Tavern of the Week. I'm going to start things off with the Trinity Pub right here in Chicago in Norwood Park. They're located at 5943 Northwest Highway. Back before I went out on my leave from my elbow, I was talking to my coworker Neil. He's like, dude, I own a bar. So I popped over to Trinity Pub. Great spot. Really cool. It's an Irish bar. I went during the day, so I mean, it was a small crowd. It wasn't very crowded, but they had everything there. They had darts, they had all of that. They got a full kitchen too, which the food looked really good. Featured with Gem Smash Burgers, JEM. The burgers look really good. The menu itself looked fantastic. Like, I gotta go back and just get myself a smash burger there. But it's a really cool bar. I like it. I'm gonna go back. I thank my buddy Neil at work for telling me about it because that's a place I'm gonna have to hit up some more. Once again, if you're in the Chicago area, in the Norwood Park area, you gotta hit up Trinity Pub. Once again, they're located at 5943 Northwest Highway. Not just beer, they got a full bar, so whatever you wanna drink, you could drink there. They sponsor sports teams, all of that. A true neighborhood bar, which are the places I like. So once again, thank you to Neil and Trinity Pub for taking care of me when I was there. If you want your bar featured on the Bar of the Week, let me know. Send me an email, dave@beerinfront.com. I will do my best to get out to you, or if you're not in the Chicagoland area, let me know. We could talk. We'll do an interview over the phone or something like that to find out more about your spot. But I want to start featuring more local bars, taverns, pubs, whatever you want to call them, like this, because they're a vital part of our community. So once again, thank you to Neil and Trinity Pub. All right, the beer that's in front of me now is a new one from Half Acre. This is Double Daisy Cutter Evergreen. I'm going to start singing Barbara Streisand in my head. This is a West Coast double IPA, 8% alcohol by volume. They use Simcoe, Mosaic, and Centennial. It's got to be good from Half Acre. Oh, beautiful color here on the double Daisy Cutter. Really nice. Maybe a tiny bit darker than the regular Daisy Cutter. I like it. It looks really good. Yeah, that smells outstanding. I'm getting like a little pininess. I'm getting some fruit notes to it. It smells really good. Excellent. That's phenomenal. I'm getting like right up front, I get a lot of malt sweetness out of this. Then the hops are hitting me. Definitely I'm getting like the piney, the fruity, getting like a mango-y type note to that with the hops. I think like the taste is phenomenal. I like that. I really like the malt out of this. blends well with the hops. It's a well-balanced beer. All the Double Daisy Cutters have been great. Everyone I've had, I'm a big fan of this Evergreen. If you see it, it's in a nice navy blue can, nice light blue artwork with an evergreen tree on here. If you see this one from Half Acre, you got to grab it. It's a phenomenal beer. If you see it, grab it, put it in the cart. Well, this episode's going to be released on the 3rd of August. I'm recording this late July. So late July, early August can only mean one thing. Oktoberfest beers are out. It's hot. You have to talc. It's so hot. But the Oktoberfest beers are out. I went to Binny's today to pick up something for the show, and they were all out and about. I don't know why, and I need to talk to someone. And it's not just Oktoberfest season. It'll be September, early October, and the holiday beers will be out. So it's not just an Oktoberfest thing, but it always strikes me as odd that it just seems to be earlier and earlier, that late July, early August, the Oktoberfest beers are out. Ska Brewing out in Durango, they had a big festival of their release on Friday, the 31st of July. Their Oktoberfest is won a GABF medal in a Vienna-style lager, which is interesting. I'll need to talk to them a little more because usually the Oktoberfest beers are either a fest beer or a Marzen style. So this is a Vienna-style lager. I like Vienna-style lagers. Ska, hook a brother up. But they had their party. I've seen a ton of stuff on social media about all of the Oktoberfest parties that are being planned all around. I just think it's hot. I want to wait until at least September before I have one, but you can't turn me away from a good Oktoberfest. So I'll be picking some up soon and report back to you on that. All right, that's going to put a nice shiny bow on this new edition of Beer in Front. I thank you very much for listening. If you have any ideas or show suggestions or things you want to hear, things you don't want to hear, let me know, Dave at beerinfront.com. If you'd like to support the show, I'd appreciate it. You could head over to patreon.com/beerinfront for more information. I'll talk to you again next week. And remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet.